Anywhere works.
Well, good morning, everyone, and it is indeed a beautiful morning to be here. I want to thank you all for joining us, and it's a great pleasure to be joined today by friends of mine, strong advocates for their communities and strong advocates for a better Ontario, Minister Lecce and Minister Flack. I begin today also by acknowledging those who have joined us and helped to make this announcement possible. Someone who's been an advocate for farmers for as long as I've been in office, for 8 years, Drew Spoolstra, the president of the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, Leonard Kula, the VP of Policy for Eastern Canada and Utility Affairs at the Canadian Renewable Energy Association, and someone who I learned has spent 38 years in the energy system and knows almost everything there is to know about moving electrons around the grid, as well as someone who I have to congratulate, the recently elected president of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Robin Jones. Congratulations, and I look forward to working with you. Today marks another step forward in the advancement of Ontario's energy sector. It supports jobs and growth in every corner of this great province. Our government is working hard to grow the economy here in Ontario, and we've seen great success. And we're working to secure the reliable and affordable energy that Ontario families and job creators rely on each day. From energy-intensive industries to homes, our energy system is the backbone of our growth. And it's with the support of colleagues and partners from the sector that we will continue to drive progress forward and support a stronger Ontario. So thank you to everyone who has come out today to take part in this transformational announcement. And now I'd like to welcome Minister Lecce to the podium to speak more about the good news today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, thank you very much. First off, thank you, Sam, for your leadership in Ontario. It's been brilliant working with you and both parliamentary assistants, Yakubuski and Cazzetto. I want to first off thank our amazing hosts at King Haven Farms here in beautiful King City to host us for this historic announcement. Special shout out to Jay Wilmont and his family for their leadership in both energy, agriculture, and entrepreneurship here in our community and across our province. I'm pleased to be here, to be joined by my friends and colleague, the Honourable Rob Flack, the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness, the Associate Minister, Sam Mustroff, who's just before us, as well as my Cabinet colleagues who are with us. I have Logan Kanapathy, we have Daisy Way, we have Billy Pang, we have Don Gallagher-Murphy, an amazing team from York Region, and of course Sam, Rob, and I. And Laura Smith, the member from Thornhill, who also is part of Team Vaughan. Thank you. I didn't see her. And I want to thank Robin Jones as well, our new president here of AMO, and Drew from the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, and likewise Leonard, the VP of Policy at the Canadian Renewable Energy Association. We've got a big team with us today, and thank our friends from Energy Storage Canada and the ISO who are with us as well. As you know, Ontario's energy experts have forecasted an energy supply gap by 2029. And looking forward down the road, Ontario projects to consume we will need at least 60% more energy by 2050. The province needs more energy to grow our economy. We need to generate and store more energy, not just for today's families, but as we look to tomorrow for our children and our grandchildren. And that's why we're here taking bold action today. We see it every day. The rise in electricity demand is growing sharply with the electrification of industry, the rise of artificial intelligence and data centers, and our growing population. And it's why last year our government released a pragmatic plan that lays out Ontario's path to scale out its clean and reliable energy grid, diversifying its electricity mix while being able to decarbonize its electricity system even further. Building out on the province's grid attracts new investment, and this will benefit from Ontario's clean energy advantage. As we have said, Ontario must produce more affordable energy to keep up with rising demand. To meet the rising demand of affordable energy in this province, our government is taking action as we launch the largest competitive energy procurement in Ontario history, an announcement that will secure up to 5,000 megawatts of power, enough power for roughly 5 million homes through a series of technological agnostic procurements that include renewable energy. This government is serious about generating and storing more power, which is why we launched the largest battery storage procurement earlier this year in Canadian history, securing nearly 3,000 megawatts of power to store the energy we need when we need it most. Now, I've also directed that this procurement be competitive, ensuring energy contracts are purchased at the lowest price. That is our bottom line, affordability for families and seniors. Because we all remember the days where too many families and seniors were pushed into energy poverty just one decade ago. our Premier and our team will simply never allow that to happen again. In part, we've asked for options to help expedite the delivery of this procurement because we believe we must act with urgency to meet this generational challenge as we see rising needs in our grid. Now, we're on month 3 for Sam and I, but we want to be clear. The need to improve is how we build energy infrastructure in the province, and the importance of keeping it affordable for our families, for our farms, and our seniors is paramount. And unlike the former Liberal government who imposed energy contracts on unwilling communities, our government is putting municipalities in the driver's seat as we expand energy generation. Ontario's plan to build more affordable energy includes a new binding requirement that energy products can only proceed with a municipal support resolution. It also protects farmland, a critical priority for Minister Flack, for Minister Oosterhoff, for P.A. Yakubuski, and myself, and so many others who have rural communities, that we ensure we never misuse prime agricultural lands. It's why Ontario's plan will prohibit all ground-mounted solar on prime agricultural areas. We now will also require an agricultural impact assessment before considering any project in a prime farm area. Long gone are the days where Queen's Park imposes projects on unwilling communities, undermining those agricultural areas. And unlike the former government who forced large energy projects on unwilling communities, we will respect the voices of our communities. That's why I'm very honored. We are so honored to have the support of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, the Federation of Agriculture, and CanRIA, a great diverse leaders between Rob, Drew, and Leonard, who are here with us. And we really want to make clear to them that we will respect the voices of communities. We'll ensure local communities' voices are respected. Our agriculture and agri-food industries are protected when it comes to any future affordable energy expansion. Part of this announcement is also incentivizing energy expansion in the north, with additional points for northern expansion, as well as partnerships with Indigenous communities, and for the first time, a plan to unlock Crown lands for renewable energy projects. You know, this province, we have the human capital, the ingenuity and technological skill that uniquely positions Ontario as the envy of the world. And we are emerging as a clean energy superpower with an electricity grid that is one of the cleanest in the world, nearly 90% coming from non-emitting sources. And it's why we can and we will and we need to do more, which is why today we're announcing and advancing the largest competitive energy procurement in the history of this province. It's just the first step in our plan to expand our energy grid. We're leading in nuclear as we refurbish our fleets and build the largest commercial nuclear generator and the first small modular reactor in North America in the G7. All being done on time, all being done on budget. And let us be clear, emission-free nuclear energy will help us generate that large volume we need, that is clean, that is reliable, and yes, affordable for families. We're doing an all-of-the-above approach, all of the above, to ensure our province maintains our competitive advantage and produces the power we need for our farms and for our families. And I want people to know that our priority and what we will deliver on is affordability for families. That's the #1 priority for our Premier and our team. It's why we have kept energy prices low. It's why we've cut the gas and fuel tax by 10 cents a litre. It's why we oppose the punitive Liberal carbon tax on families and farms. Our focus is an affordable electricity system that is always reliable, and that is Ontario's plan as we generate and store more affordable energy for the future. And with that, I want to invite our partner, who's been an amazing leader in protecting agricultural lands, working with us to strengthen this policy, Minister Flack. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Minister. Obviously a great pleasure to be here, along with Sam Oosterhoff, along with my colleagues and all the stakeholders throughout the energy and ag sector. So great that you're here. It's great to be here at Kinghaven Farms, and I'll start by giving a quick little story. I used to call on this farm many years ago when I was with my employer for over 40 years, and I remember coming here with our local dealer down the road, Nobleton Feed Mill, the Budworth family, and calling on Kinghaven Farms with a great tradition of racehorsing breeding, and was honored to be able to feed their horses here and visit this lovely location, and love to see its advancement. And actually was just at a wedding across the road on Saturday with a good friend of ours, so it feels like coming home again this week. Great to see you, Drew. Where's Drew? Great to see you out here. Thanks, buddy. President of the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, a real partner in this program. And as Minister Lecce said, today our government has taken a significant step on the energy file by crucially and in a way that respects our farmers. And I'm going to talk about that today and the entire agri-food sector. This historic energy program plan that Minister Lecce has announced will include 4 important land and ag components. First, project partners, and I'm emphasizing again what he said, and energy companies will be required to receive municipal support resolutions before submitting new bids to the IESO. That means that new generation capacity will only be built if a municipality is comfortable, period. Second, land-mounted solar panel projects will be prohibited on prime agricultural land and in specialty crop areas, an important point. We also welcome the energy generation we can get, and we will always have a mixed, diversified grid in this great province. But our plan recognizes that we must balance state-of-the-art renewable energy project needs with our farming and rural communities. Third, we will be requiring agricultural impact assessments, AIAs, for upcoming projects. This adds another guarantee, or if you wish, another tool in the toolbox that new energy capacity for our growing province will be assessed methodically to carefully consider and scope out potential impacts on our ag sector and our farming communities. Finally, we will incentivize new projects located in Northern Ontario, as Mr. Lecce said, where and when it makes sense to do so. Today's announcement strikes the right balance between protecting how we grow our food and how we generate our energy. I've spent my entire career in the ag and food space, and I have never felt more exciting energy, sorry for the pun, Minister, in our sector. And believe me, Ontario is an agri-food powerhouse. It's booming, and it needs all the power it can get. And a few notes here, my kind of rotary speech, if you wish. 871,000 people are employed in agriculture from the farm gate to the consumer's plate. It's massive, it's huge, it's important to our economy. 1 in 9 of all jobs in this province, and that's almost 30,000 new jobs since we came to office despite the pandemic. We generate almost $51 billion in GDP every year, and that's up $3 billion since we came to office. Ag exports. An important point, we feed everybody, we produce more than we feed. Ag exports hit almost $24 billion last year. That's up 21% since 2021. Our government is committed to an agricultural sector that reaches its full potential to help rebuild Ontario's economy. That's why we've worked with the federal government to secure over $565 million in investments in Ontario's agri-food sector by 2028 through the Sustainable Canadian Agricultural Partnership Program, SCAP, and through our bold 10-year Grow Ontario strategy, we are going to achieve continued on-farm productivity, new export opportunities, and more ag innovation. Across this province, the momentum in agriculture means we need to continue to fuel up our power source. Minister Lecce and Minister Oosterhoff and I understand that very well. For example, greenhouse operators near Leamington need an abundance of affordable electricity to keep the lights on and expand their operations. Over 80% of what that sector produces today is exported to the United States. And I saw driving in, we've got a wonderful greenhouse being built right here at Kinghaven Farms. So does our huge ag manufacturing and processing sector, now the second largest in North America. Think about Ontario being the second largest agri-food powerhouse in North America. I could go on the list of examples, but our government will secure the energy they all need. We are a growing province, 15 million strong, and we're feeding everyone and still exporting food. So today's announcement will enable Ontario's agri-food powerhouse, what we have today, to continue to get the job done. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone again. Thank you for hosting us, Kinghaven Farms, and I'd now like to turn it over to my friend, Drew Spoelstra, the president of the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, who's doing a great job and a great advocate for 50,000 farmers in this province. Drew.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today alongside Minister of Energy and Electrification, Stephen Lecce, Minister Flack, Minister Oosterhoff, and other MPPs from around this region. Ontario's agriculture and agri-food sector is not only a cornerstone of our province's economy, but also a critical part of our identity and our future. Our sector provides more than 200 different farm and food products that sustain our communities, fuel our rural economies, and is responsible for 750,000 jobs. With an annual contribution of over $50 billion to Ontario's economy, the agri-food sector is undeniably one of the most significant drivers of economic prosperity in our province. Today's announcement of the new energy procurement framework is a major step forward for Ontario. Reliable and affordable energy is incredibly important to the growth of the Ontario economy, including food production, food processing, and the agri-food sector. This process is key to meeting our growing energy needs and also ensuring that we have the power to support our homes, our businesses, our farms, and our industries. What's important about this new procurement framework is that it balances our energy needs with the protection of our prime agricultural land. The introduction of agriculture impact assessments for new energy projects is another positive step. It means that as we grow our energy infrastructure, we will have a process in place to protect the land that sustains us and feeds us. This process will help demonstrate how on-farm diversified energy production can also participate in Ontario's energy future and help us reduce our carbon footprint while sustaining the agriculture sector. This balanced approach is exactly what Ontario needs as we look forward into the future. It ensures that we can meet the growing demand for energy while continuing to protect and nurture our agricultural sector. In closing, I want to thank Minister Lecce and the Ontario government and Minister Flack as well and his team for recognizing the importance of protecting our agricultural lands as we move towards a more electrified and sustainable future. By working together, we can ensure that the province's agriculture sector and energy sectors continue to grow together, driving economic growth and prosperity for all of Ontario. Thank you very much, and I'd like to turn things over to Leonard Kula, Vice President of Policy with the Canadian Renewable Energy Association, to bring remarks.
Thank you, Drew, for the warm introduction. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Canadian Renewable Energy Association, I'm very pleased to be here today with the Ontario Minister of Energy and Electrification, Stephen Lecce. CanREA represents more than 300 companies working in Canada's wind energy, solar energy, and energy storage sectors. Our members have been successful in building and operating renewable energy and energy storage projects in Ontario and across Canada. In partnership with project stakeholders and rights holders, including Indigenous communities, municipalities, farmers, and landowners. Today's announcement is positive news for the renewables industry and positive news for Ontario. CanREA welcomes the coming procurement of 5 gigawatts, 5,000 megawatts of new energy projects, including wind and solar. It's clear that non-emitting resources are a critical part of the solution to address Ontario's growing energy needs. CanREA and its members are committed to working with the Independent Electricity System Operator to refine and finalize the procurement process. We look forward to the opportunity to compete, build, and operate new, low-cost, renewable energy projects in Ontario. Together, we will continue to build the affordable, reliable, and clean energy system that Ontarians need, expect, and deserve, and help extend Ontario's clean energy advantage. We're very excited to get started. Thank you for having us here today, and now I'll welcome the President of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, Robin Jones, to say a few words.
Well, good morning, everybody. I was a public order commander in a previous life, and they can probably hear me in the back 40. My name is Robin Jones, and I am the Mayor of Westport, and I have the privilege of representing the Ontario municipalities as president of AMO. So thank you, Minister Lecce, Minister Flack, Minister Oosterhoff, Drew and Leonard for your remarks, and thank you to the province for this important investment in Ontario's energy system. AMO is pleased to support the next round of renewable energy procurements being launched today. As Ontario sees record growth and increased energy demand, it is essential that we make sure that energy is available when and where it is needed to power our homes and businesses. Energy is vital to the prosperity of our communities. And municipalities are committed to continuing to work with the province and energy partners to support a transition to clean, reliable, affordable energy systems that meet the needs of our communities. AMO is pleased that municipalities will continue to play an important role determining whether to host local energy projects. Municipalities are best positioned to identify the right locations for energy infrastructure while protecting our environment and community well-being. Now, under the last two energy procurements, projects in 20 municipalities from Armagh to Edwardsburg Cardinal to Vaughan and Windsor received local support and were awarded contracts. Many more municipalities are raising their hands to declare themselves willing hosts for similar projects. This goes to show that municipalities take their role in supporting the growth of our energy system seriously. From bustling urban centers to remote, rural, and northern communities, we are committed to making decisions that make clean energy accessible and affordable to Ontarians. I'd also like to thank our partners, including the province and IESO and others here today who are working closely with AMO to help build municipal capacity and expertise around these procurements. This collaboration helps ensure that as energy projects move forward, we can protect community well-being, agricultural lands, and the environment so communities can enjoy the economic benefits of the projects. Municipalities and AMO are committed to strengthening collaboration with the province, the energy industry, to ensure Ontario's energy system supports our growing population and economy. Together, we can create a clean energy future that benefits all Ontarians. Thank you for your time today, and I'll now hand things back to Minister Lecce.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. And I think we will take some questions.
We will now open up the floor to questions from the media. Please step up to the mic and state your name and outlet. As a reminder, it's one question, one follow-up. We'll start with our first reporter.
Hi there, Alan Hale from Queen's Park today. So the long-term RFP Phase 2 was originally focused on renewable energy, but now it's tech agnostic. Why did you make this change, and is it going to be used to do more natural gas energy?
Well, LT1, the first procurement, was technologically agnostic as well, so we're maintaining that consistency. We need an all-the-above approach because we need more energy in this province. The ISO is predicting at least 60% more energy. We have to double our grid by 2050. It's a massive undertaking, and so the message we're sending today is renewables are very much part of our this mix and a part of our strength as a province. We appreciate nuclear energy will play a significant role in baseload, but today's announcement enables renewables with the right local support in place that protects farmlands and helps us harness clean energy that is affordable for families. This procurement's priority will be affordability, and that's the main message we want to send to all the potential energy contractors who will compete. We want this to be affordable because we remember just a decade ago when many families across Ontario were driven into energy poverty because of policies that ultimately led to higher costs for power we did not need. And there's a fundamental difference in our approach today. It's about respecting communities, it's about protecting farmland, and it's about delivering affordable energy for Ontario families.
We're facing such a big energy crunch, then why are we promoting the idea of energy exports at the same time that you're willing to stop having a exclusively renewable procurement, but you're also saying that we need to export energy? Like, it seems like there's a cognitive dissonance there. Do we need to export more energy, or do we need to build more energy here?
Well, both can be true. We already are a net exporter of clean energy to the United States. We see a potential over time to strengthen that advantage for the purpose of reducing continental emissions and, frankly, to grow the economy and our revenues in Ontario. Our priority today is harnessing 5,000 additional megawatts of power, enough energy for roughly 5 million homes, and we think that's important that it's affordable. And so today's announcement is a positive step forward that we have to move with urgency to deliver energy for Ontarians first and foremost. But our Premier and our government has an ambition too to continue to export, as we already do, in a bigger way. That's a project over time, but today's procurement between now and 2034 is about harnessing more energy for the people of Ontario as our economy electrifies, as our population intensifies, and we're really proud of this announcement because it's another commitment to building more energy because our province needs it.
Hi, Minister Lecce, Siobhan Morris, CTV. Who's going to be doing the assessment or evaluating whether energy projects can go on farmland to determine if it is indeed the protected kind?
So an agriculture impact assessment will be done. That'll be led by communities working with the ISO, and then they will make a determination ultimately if it is approved or not. The whole reason why we did this is because, look, you know, over years past, there had to be lessons learned, and farmers spoke to us, the Ontario Federation of Agriculture, with Minister Flack and others, said, look, we're happy to be part of the solution to build our energy infrastructure because we need more energy. Our farmers need more energy. More than ever, they need access to affordable energy. And so we made a commitment to work with them on a policy that ultimately will respect prime agricultural land. That includes, you know, prohibitions on the Holland Marsh, for example, any of those prime crop areas that are really critical for our food security to protect. And so today's announcement is a step forward to, yes, build out our energy generation, 5,000 megawatts, roughly energy for 5 million homes. Between now and 2034, it's going to be a cadence procurement, so we're going to do it successively over multiple years. But we do believe the policy we've landed, like the fact that you could have, standing behind me, it almost seems an impossibility, AMO, who represents municipalities who have their own perspective, and then the farmers representing their own perspective, and you've got the renewables, and sometimes these aren't always complementary perspectives, but the fact that we can come together on a policy that allows us to move forward with more energy, more affordable energy, on all of the above approach that allows a framework for renewables to get back in the game, I think is a really positive sign that we're serious about affordable energy and we're serious about generating more energy for our economy and our future.
As energy minister, do you have any concerns about fights at the local level about, because there's always going to be some resistance, if not from councils, but from community members about new projects? People just don't want them. They want the energy, but they don't want the project.
You know, look, I actually think there's more public, more undermining of public confidence when communities don't have a say, because you still have those fights. Ask any rural community, ask the families of North King and the Holland Marsh when the former Liberal government imposed a natural gas plant on that community without local consent, right? I mean, that actually created more consternation in our community. So I believe local communities should have a say. I believe local councils should provide a support resolution as an enabler to build the infrastructure. And the president of AMO herself said, and frankly, we heard it at an AMO, with communities coming to us saying, well, we want to put our hand up. We want energy infrastructure. They get a community benefit in addition to harnessing power for their local needs. So it's a win-win. And I have absolute confidence that the policy we've announced today allows us to produce more affordable power on an act of urgency. And part of today's announcement is also the direction to the IESO, the Independent Electricity Systems Operator, to look at expediting it, because we have a challenge when it comes to the energy supply gap in Ontario. We need to get serious about it. And this government and our Premier has a plan to do it. Anchored by nuclear energy, we've got massive refurbishment of clean energy at Darlington, with that refurbishment moving on time and on budget. 4 small modular reactors being built, the first of its kind in the G7 at Darlington. The refurbishment and extension of Pickering, and of course Bruce C, which is Bruce Power's plant out in Bruce Peninsula, which is roughly another, almost 5,000 megawatts of power, 4,800 megawatts of power, enough power for another 5 million homes. So we're moving forward. We see the problem, we have a solution, and today's announcement layers in additional options because we really need to embrace an all-the-above approach if we're going to meet the needs of our province, and our government has a plan to do that.
Hey, good morning, Minister. Colin DeMello
Colin.
from Global News. My question is actually 8 questions, and it has nothing to do with the announcement. I apologize. So since we have a lot of PC MPPs here and there's a lot of talk about an early election, I would like to hear from each one of you at the podium if you are going to run for re-election, whether it's 2025 or 2026. Go.
Well, look, I do intend to run again. I'm not sure. I don't want to put my colleagues on the spot, but I think what you hear from us, Colin, is we are ready. We're excited, but our focus today is governing, and we're at an announcement today to announce energy for the next decade. And so we're focused on delivering affordable energy, keeping taxes low, standing up against the carbon tax. That's actually what motivates all of us every day, and we're going to keep working.
And we'll invite you to our nomination meetings.
Yes. I can't. No, that doesn't apply for me, Colin. But yeah, but Rob will invite you to his nomination meeting. But we're all running. We're ready to go.
So, on that note, have you been renominated yet? And what is the process in your riding to start preparing for a possible election? Have people been appointed? Has there been fundraising? Is there a campaign structure? Can you tell us a little bit more about what's happening on the ground in your riding?
What I can simply say is I look forward to being nominated in the fall, and I defer you to the party for details on that process. My focus actually is producing and generating and storing more power for the people of Ontario. We have a real challenge and an opportunity if we lean into it. We have to stay focused on the job. The Premier's made it very clear. I was with him yesterday, where he said, deliver on your mandate. Affordable power, reliable energy, clean energy for the people of Ontario. So, obviously we think that's important. And I think families will judge us on our ability to keep prices low. And you have to look back a decade ago when families in the 905, but right across Ontario, rural Ontario, small towns, were driven into energy poverty because of an ideological approach that literally led to skyrocketing hydro rates, where the Liberals were paying 8 times the going rate above market, where they signed 33,000 contracts we did not need. I mean, look, we're still paying the price for those poor decisions, and the government is focused on delivering affordability. That's our #1 priority between now and the end of the mandate.
Hi there, Alan Hale from Queen's Park today again. I have a question for Minister Flack.
Sure.
So we have farmers in Wilmot Township who are afraid that they are going to be next to be targeted for having their lands appropriated for industrial use. And there's been a lot of complaining about the lack of transparency from the region about what is going on there. And Minister Calandra has sort of criticized the region for not being more open about what it's doing and what its arrangement with the province is on this issue. Can you tell us whether you will be the province will be letting the region out of its non-disclosure agreements with the province, so we can talk to farmers more forthrightly about these land acquisitions? And I would really like to hear from the OFA president and the AMO president on this issue as well.
Oh, okay, thank you. So first of all, we've put out a program in this province to try and attract investment, and we're succeeding amazingly. In my riding alone, Volkswagen's coming, and the spin-off jobs from that are going to be 30,000 jobs, 3,000 direct jobs. So we are a growing province, and we're not only going to have people coming here, we're going to have people working here with good jobs and with benefits and pensions to go. So that being said, the assembly of land is really up to the regions, and we are there to support them. So if regions want to participate or municipalities want to participate, that's up to them. It's up to them to set the land assembly and work with the local landowners, whoever they may be. So I would simply say, if you have any questions specifically about Waterloo, phone Chair Redmond. She's got it down. So all with it. Okay, well, then they have to talk. You had to talk to Mary. She signed a non-disclosure agreement, so that's their legal commitment. I'll turn it over to Drew.
Well, OFA's got a strong priority, obviously, that we continue to protect prime agriculture land across this province. That's what we're here to talk about today in terms of electricity procurement and how that might go forward, protecting agricultural land. I think it's important to recognize that that's a commitment across the province. That's not just here in King Township or in one area of the province or another. We want to continue to promote the protection of prime agriculture land across all ministries, including energy, and we'll go forward with that messaging in the future.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much. And as everybody knows, I hope, that AMO is an association for all of the municipalities. And this specific example that's being asked about has received a fair bit of discussion and scrutiny. And it's not AMO's position to comment on the specific goings-on and decisions taken by any municipality. I think that Minister Flack raised a good a good point that if you've got questions, there are mayors in Waterloo and Wilmot and the regional chair who are much more knowledgeable on this than certainly the president of AMO. So thank you for the question.
Okay. All right, that's it. I do want, just before we end, I just want to thank Jay Wilmont and the leadership here at Kinghaven. Thank you so much for your leadership. What I said earlier is this is generations of leadership in farming, in entrepreneurship, and in innovation. And we're very proud of the work you're doing, the expansion of the greenhouse. You'll be buying the best leafy greens from here at Kinghaven Farms, folks. I want to thank the mayor and council, Jennifer, David. Thank you. And Michelle, the president of the King Chamber. Thank you all for joining us and your meaningful partnership. And thank you again to our colleagues and friends from across our caucus and stakeholders for joining us today. Thanks so much.
That concludes our press conference. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Okay.